Hi, Fox Renderfarm. My name is Cal Chiu, and I have the great pleasure of being the Student Volunteer Chair for SIGGRAPH Asia 2024. Outside of the conference, I work and specialize in real-time graphics. So I've been working as an R&D engineer in graphics, making game engine and graphics features for game software, basically, in the games industry in Japan. It's actually a very interesting story as well. I am originally from France, and currently I am based and I live and work in Japan. The reason I came to Japan was that I was part of this double degree between my home university and the university that hosted me in Japan. And so I applied to this program. I was looking up the activities of my laboratory in Japan ahead of coming, so in Japan, and I was looking up the research papers of my seniors and what kind of research the lab was doing. And there was a keyword that kept appearing, SIGGRAPH. I wasn't really familiar with this at first. I was scrolling, and the more I scrolled and looked at the activities, the more this conference thing kept appearing. So I started looking up a little bit, digging around the internet, and I found out about SIGGRAPH Asia. And that was in 2018. So 6 years ago. It took place in Tokyo as well. So that was a very big coincidence because I was headed there in Japan. So I almost immediately emailed my professor, who would be my supervisor, once I arrived. And I saw on the website as well that there would be this program called the Student Volunteers, right? So I was like, wait a minute, I am going to be a student, and that might be, some way to sneak in as a volunteer and take a look at what's happening at the conference as well. So I emailed my supervisor and asked him ahead of time, even before coming, if it was okay to apply. And he said, yeah, and he was actually involved as a long-standing member in the committee as well. And I actually still met him right yesterday. Right? And this is how I got involved in SIGGRAPH in general, through the student volunteering program, starting to volunteer, and I've been to almost every SIGGRAPH conferences, both in Asia and Northern America since. It starts to be you actually have to stop and count a little bit. I started volunteering in 2018, so that was SIGGRAPH Asia, and then 2019 I did both. 2020 we had the coronavirus, right, COVID-19, so the world kind of adapted to that as well. Both conferences went online. I was involved a little bit behind the logistics of that as well. 2021, both conferences as well, hybrid a little bit. And then we started coming back in physical in Daegu. So I think pretty much 6 years of, almost 2 conferences per year, with 2024 almost wrapping up now. So it has been a dozen times. It's been absolutely great. The very strong keyword we have with the volunteers this year is nostalgia, because a lot of us actually were around as well in 2018, the first time we did it in this venue. It has been a very emotional year as well for me, because it's the first time I'm coming back while in the same venue as it was when I first volunteered with the program. I first discovered SIGGRAPH and came to Japan and was amazed by all this technology and all these CG related content. At that time I was a student volunteer still studying, and now 6 years later I've become an industry professional as well, and I have the great pleasure of being the SB chair as well. So it's sort of a return to home and full circle again. Everybody is very, very happy, and we have had just an exceptional year that is highlighted by how competitive things were as well, because we have very, very big numbers of volunteers on site. We actually broke a record of the total amount of members of the student volunteer program on site on the conference. This just shows how much interest there is, hosting the conference in Japan, and everybody is just very excited, and things have been nothing but great so far. It's always a challenge, right? A lot of difficult things, but I like that very much. I think it's a demanding job because the student volunteers program touch almost every other program of the conference. We provide staff for every venue, and we work closely with all the program chairs. I think it's a task that demands a lot of time and skills as well in terms of managing people, because we're all volunteers. So it's important to find the right balance to keep people interested and motivated to give their best, while also, making sure that we represent SIGGRAPH correctly to attendees who come and we are at the top and at our best state in order to serve, the attendees as well in terms of professionalism and communication skills and things like that. It's definitely important to balance those aspects, taking care of all the logistics, and we work actually all year long. So like this is a job that has been going on for me since January of this year. It's very strange to tell myself that in 2 days or just a couple of days it will be over, right? Time has flown very, very fast. But there has been a lot of things involved as well. We provide accommodations for the volunteers. We show them around about Tokyo. They need information about how to navigate. For a lot of students, it's their first time traveling abroad as well. And it's their first time attending a big professional event. So we have to be careful about providing a safe, welcoming environment for them as well. Every little things about those aspects is more or less a part of my job. Yeah. My team this year, we have accepted 200 student volunteers. We have a dedicated media crew as well that we call SV Productions. This is a team of 10 members, so 210. And then we have 18 team leaders who are responsible for the venues and will train the SVs on site, tell them what to do at each venue and things like that. And then my subcommittee, who are working with me throughout the entire year to prepare the program, we are in total 8 people as well. So in total, that is about 235 members that are accepted. And this year, on site, we have about 190 student volunteers who are actually at the conference. And on top of that, with all the staff members, we are at 225. So that's a lot of numbers, but it's actually the record, the most students we've had volunteering on site at the conference in the history of SIGGRAPH Asia. Of course. So after studying in Japan and graduating, I joined Capcom in Japan because I had this passion for games, and one of my favorite game series is actually Monster Hunter, and I kept playing this while I was a student all the way back in Europe as well. So I was very, very happy to join the engine team working on the RE engine, which is the in-house game engine that Capcom uses to make a lot of the games that they develop, right? And I was on the rendering team of that engine, so working on things like character rendering, shaders, things like that, optimization platforms. So it's a lot of, checking the performances of the games, optimizing them, making new features as well, things like that. From there, I have transitioned then to Unity in Japan. The job is still involved with games, and now I'm sort of more in a little bit of a client-facing position as well, as we are in a team where we can help studios who use the engine improve performance and improve their games overall, and then reach a wider audience and make them successful as well. So I work with various partners and studios who work with the Unity engine to do things like co-development and things like that. I am not able to disclose most of the projects I currently work on, but it's been very, very exciting as well. And it's a kind of work that keeps me very close to the SIGGRAPH world as well, so I very much like it. I think it can be a little bit overwhelming because we don't know where to start. There is so much stuff going on, so many programs, right? This year as well, as you have just said, we have a games program, which is something that I very much like as a professional in that field as well. If you are a student, my first advice, of course, is to apply for the student volunteers for many, many, many reasons. We provide a lot of perks as well, right? We are able to provide, one-on-one reviews with professionals in the industry to get you started and kickstart your career. It's really just about, checking the schedule ahead on the website, and there will be links as well to apply, and all the details are on there. And I think it's a very good opportunity to try to step into the broader, larger community of SIGGRAPH, because I see the student volunteering program as a gateway sort of into the very big and large community that SIGGRAPH is, and things happen not only during the conferences in either Asia or America, but also all year long in different chapters in local cities, and there are activities around, so there's a lot of information. Instead of trying to look for where to start and be lost in that sea of information and things going on, one of the maybe easier ways to get involved as well is to start, through the student volunteer program, and then thereon We actually show you the conference. You get to know much better after your first conference. You will know, right? What are things that people talk about a little bit, because like there are their vocabulary as well. Like people talk about CAF. What is CAF? It's like Computer Animation Festival that we have, and like things like that. That might be a little bit opaque at the first time. But then once you've done this volunteering as well, we provide opportunities to tell you more about how to get involved as well. Tomorrow we have a luncheon that is sponsored by the Chapters Committee of SIGGRAPH that is covering both Asia and North America, and you can learn about, getting more involved in things like that. So it's definitely good to check out the program, check out if you have a local chapter as well where you are located, because SIGGRAPH is a presence all around the world as well. We have volunteers who come around all over the world and gather every year at the conference. But even if you are not at the conference site directly, time-wise or place-wise, right now you can still look up if you have a local chapter, whether in your city or your university as well, because we have chapters in universities, and those have also the information to get you started and welcome you to the community of SIGGRAPH. This year, my favorite part, that's very, very difficult. I'm very much looking forward to, I really like the reception, for example, that took place, because it's like a fond memory of like the student, discovering professional world and networking with people, like people that we look up to a lot as industry professional, and going there gave me a lot of memories as well. Program-wise, I think as an R&D researcher, an engineer, I'm very much looking forward to the content itself, because every year I go through the papers as well. I do some peer reviewing as well, and I'm just right now, this whole year has been preparing for the student volunteers. So I actually haven't that much time to look at the papers, but there is so much stuff exciting going on there that I can't wait to just, maybe after taking a little break next week, starting to read through the content and just the passion that I have for CG and research as well, that on that side as well, I can't wait to see all the content that I've been looking forward to.